What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the Parrot Press. Today's video, we are talking about timing the bottom. Now, I'm talking about the MLS more specifically just because that's where I'm doing my research at the moment. That's where my gallery is. But that's not to say that this logic doesn't apply to any other competition in Sorare. Let's get into the video. Okay, so we're going to take a look at Carlos Hill. We're going to look at his average selling price over the last couple of years. We're talking about his rare card as well. Carlos Hill is one of the best midfielders on the game, let alone in the MLS. I mean, he's the best in the MLS, probably the best in America, if not very, very close to being the best, and being one of the top cards in the game. He's 29 years of age. His contract is until December 2024, and he plays for New England Revolution. When that contract expires, I don't really see him going to Europe because he's already been there, and he didn't. Well, maybe he did foul. I don't know. But I see him staying in the MLS, if not going to a different MLS team. But what we're looking at here is his rare graph, and we're taking a look at Ethereum as well. We're not looking at his fiat graph. Now, his fiat graph is quite similar to this, but 80% of the time I value my players in Ethereum. So that's what we're looking at today. And I've actually taken away the left-hand side of this graph just so that we can focus on the line itself rather than the ETH price. Reason for doing that is because I just don't want to be confused by, oh, he was 2 ETH at this time, and then all of a sudden he was only half an ETH here or whatever. I just want to get the trend of the player and see if we can time that bottom. And before we go on any further, I just want to say that this is not financial advice, okay? The only reason why I'm kind of doing this video to share with you guys is because we're coming into the off season of the MLS, and I'm looking at preparing for next March, basically. So we're 6 months, 7 months in advance. And Carlos Hill at the moment, I think on the market is 1.5 ETH. So I want to make sure that when I'm paying that amount of money and that amount of ETH for a player, that I'm getting them as cheap as I possibly can. Hence why I'm putting this video together. So please do your own research. In years to come, this trend will probably change. I mean, there will still be some sort of thought process around what I'm about to talk about, because it's not really rocket science or whatever. But yeah, just do your own research, please. Now, what we're looking at here is the two peaks that we've got. So the first peak being February and March. And the reason for that is being the start of the MLS season. Again, as I said, this isn't rocket science, right? What people are doing is they're realizing that the America leagues and competitions are about to kick back off again. They go there, they look at the player rankings. Because Carlos Hill is basically number one midfielder all the time, he's going to be in demand for the people who have the ETH and then can go out there and obviously pick him up. The other one that we've got there is the end of Europe, and which is June. And just as I said, the end of the European season, people then look at the best players in America. They go and pick them up because they don't want to miss out on playing the game throughout the 2 months, 2.5 months, whatever it may be that year in the summer. So on the flip side, when are the bottoms? When are the dips? The two that I've highlighted there are the end of the MLS season, so basically just a flip of what I've just said, and the start of Europe. So start of Europe because people want to get out on the cards that they've invested over the summer, and they either pick up their challenger cards or whatever it may be. End of the MLS season, again, you can't use the cards for 4 or 5 months, so people sell them to then invest back into Europe so that they can grind threshold or whatever they're going to do with their ETH. So with that being said, the best time to probably buy, by looking at this and looking at the last couple of years worth of data, is on the off season, so between sort of October and December. And then again around early August when people are selling to go into Europe. But what I wanted to do was, and now let's look at these 5 players, Blake, Johnson, Vela, Wagner and Hernandez. I wanted to apply that theory and that logic to basically 5 really high profile MLS players to see whether that logic matched with them, and it, in a nutshell, it did. All right, we're looking there at the big spike at the beginning there, Feb 21, April 01. You can see that there. So the February, March time where there's some big spikes on basically all of them. And then we have a dip throughout the season, a further dip on the off season, and then it spikes back again in February and March. And the same logic is there on June. So if we just look on the right hand side of that graph, you'll see that June 16, just before that, the prices start to increase again, especially on a couple of them. Right, so what's interesting here though is that the best time to buy is September, November rather than September, December, which was Carlos Hill. And again, I know I'm only looking at 1 or 2 years worth of data, but what I think people might start to do is to prepare their teams kind of a week or two earlier, year on year, and all of a sudden that dip gets closer to the end of the season rather than in the off season. Now that's just a theory of mine. There is no real data to back that up yet, and I suspect that in the next 2 to 3 years we can answer when the dip is and when the best time to buy, and whether that statement is factual or not. But what I'm going to be doing, again, like this whole channel is following my journey, seeing my mistakes, seeing what I'm doing with my gallery, because I'm looking at Carlos Hill, Druisi, and Insigne, and there's an American goalkeeper as well, Rodrigo Rey. He plays in the Argentina league, should I say, Argentinian league. I want to pay the bottom prices for these guys, and I'm quite happy to sit and not use them and just train them up for 3 or 4 months. I don't want to be buying them when they're 2 ETH. I want to be buying them when they're 1 ETH, which is obviously an easy thing to say, and what everybody would want to buy them at the bottom. But as I said, I just wanted to put this video out there to show you guys exactly what I'm doing, some of the things that I'm looking at. And I think, as I said, in years to come, we're going to have a much better picture as to what the trend is and where the dips are, and if there are some movement within the bottom its actual self. Okay, so if you like the video, hit that like button. If you want to see some more, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys in the future.